everyone. I'm Miss Lexi, a children's librarian assistant at the Montgomery County South Regional Library in the Woodlands. And as you can see, we are visiting a very special place today. Do you ever wonder who answers the phone when you call 911? What happens during a 911 phone call? How do they know where to find you when there's an emergency? Well, you're in luck because today we are going inside the 911 dispatch building to learn about all the incredible people and who helps us during an emergency.
Hey, did you like our dispatch center?
I did! There were so many big computers, bigger than my TV at home.
Well, this room is where all the magic happens. When you dial 911, the calls come in here. Dispatchers will answer them. They take all of your information, find out what kind of help you need, and send the information over to their partners. Then the dispatchers who work the radio send the help that you need, whether it be an ambulance, a fireman, or a police officer.
Whoa.
So now that you've seen what the inside of the center looks like, let's head over to my desk so I can show you the phone.
Let's go!
Hey guys, welcome to my desk. I want to show you all about the 911 phone system. This, on my head, is called a headset. In this part of the headset, I can hear what my caller says to me, and this part of my headset is where I can speak back to them. When I put this on, it allows me to answer the phone. I have buttons here where I can answer any incoming calls. So it's not like a normal telephone that you're used to seeing. I've got 4 screens. These 2 screens are the computer system where I type all the information into. That way, whoever you need sent your way, whether it's an ambulance, a fire truck, or a policeman, they can see all of the things that you're telling me as they're on the way there. On these 2 screens, this is the 911 phone. This is the phone itself. It has buttons where I can dial numbers, transfer, and it gives me information about where you're at and who you are. Next to it, I have the mapping system. Sometimes, if we're lucky, we get really good information and it shows me exactly where you're calling from on the map or pretty close to it. So this is what a 911 phone system looks like.
what an amazing tour we've just gone on. I just learned so much, and I hope you did too. And now we're here with Miss Christie to learn even more about the 911 dispatch. Miss Christie, can I ask you some questions?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, first and foremost, what is 911?
911 is the phone number you call when there's an emergency. If you need a police officer, a fireman, or someone needs a doctor, then you dial 911 from the closest phone.
So that is 911. Let's see what else we have. Well, in your opinion, what do you think kids find the coolest part about your job?
Well, according to my daughter, it's that there's always somebody there to help when you dial 911. If somebody is hurt, we can send an ambulance team to come help them while they drive them to a doctor. If something is on fire, we can send a fireman to come put the fire out. And if there's someone making bad choices, we can send a police officer to help make things safe.
What are the 3 most important things to know about calling 911?
Well, I think it's very important to tell the person who answers the 911 call where your emergency is first before you tell them anything else. Sometimes we don't know where you're at right away, and sometimes the computers don't show us exactly where the person is that is calling, and so we depend on the caller to tell us. The faster we know where you are, the faster that we can get help on the way. Also, the men and women that answer the 911 calls, they're there to help day or night. The dispatcher is going to talk the caller through what they're going through to help them make the best decisions so that everyone can stay safe as possible until the help gets there. Also, when you're in danger during an emergency, that kind of emergency where you can't talk, where it just doesn't feel safe to say the things out loud that are happening in your situation, you can text 911. Now, if you can talk, then it's always best to go ahead and pick up the phone and dial the numbers so we can have a conversation. But if you can't, then you open a text message, and usually where the name of the person would be that you're sending to, you put in the numbers 911 and type the text just as you would. However, it's still important first to tell the dispatcher where you're at, so that would be the first thing you text.
I did not know you could text 911. That's really great important information to have.
Very, very helpful.
Very wonderful. Well, what made you choose this career?
Well, as I said, I love my job very much, and I think it's super important to help others in anything that you do. And I wanted a job that could help people when they needed it most, and that's what 911 dispatchers do.
That's perfect. Well, do you have any tips for children when it comes to calling during an emergency?
Absolutely. You always want to tell where you're at first. Where is the emergency happening? After we know where the emergency is, then we're going to ask what's going on. I know usually you want to say what's happening first, but we really have to know where. If we know where you are, we can send everybody, police, fire, and an ambulance. But if we don't know where you are and all we know is what's happening, then we may not know where to send the help. You want to make sure that you stay calm and you speak clearly. Don't nod because we can't hear things rattling inside your head. Also, listen to directions. So tell us as you're following them. So if I say, I need you to go open the door, the police are there, we need to be able to get in your house, then say, yes, I'm on the way, I'm opening the door now. You're our eyes and ears in the situation, so it's important to tell us what's happening as it's happening. Also, don't hang up the phone until you're told that it's okay to hang up. If you have to set the phone down in order to stay safe or in order to go follow some directions you were given, that is okay, but just don't hang up until you're told to do so. Other important things, learn the names of the people that you live with and learn their phone numbers. You have to memorize those numbers. If you have an emergency and you have to dial 911 and you're worried because you want mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or someone to know what's happening and you feel like they need to be called, if you've memorized their number, then my partner can call them and let them know what's happening while we work on the emergency. And last, it's important to know your address. Always know your home address. Now, if the emergency isn't happening at your home and you don't know the address, then ask somebody else in the house or go look around for a piece of mail because the address where you're at will be written on that piece of mail.
Those are some pretty good tips. I've got a
you.
couple more questions.
Mhm.
Now we know what to do when we call 911, but now, when do we call 911?
Well, anytime something dangerous is happening or you don't feel safe, it's always okay to call 911. Now, if something has already happened and it's all over now, but you need to talk to somebody about it, then there may be a different phone number, a non-emergency number that you could dial.
That's really good information. Can I ask what a typical day looks like for you?
Well, dispatchers work different shifts. So they work during the day, they work at night, they may work for 8, 10, or 12 hours at a time. They answer emergency phone calls, so 911. They also answer the non-emergency numbers I mentioned. There's also dispatchers in the room that while those calls are coming in, they're talking on the radio back and forth to the ambulance team or the firemen or the police officers, and they're giving them the information as it's coming in and they're headed your
How
way.
long does it take emergency services to get to you during an emergency?
Well, that's going to depend on where you're at and where your help is coming from. As soon as a dispatcher finds out your location and then what kind of help that you need sent your way, they're going to dispatch the very closest unit and they'll be headed your direction.
Wow, I feel like I'm that much more comfortable when it comes to dealing with an emergency, and now I know who to call just in case I need somebody. Thank you so much, Miss Christie, for coming and answering some questions. I feel like we've learned a lot today.
Thank you for coming to learn more about 911.
Absolutely. We learned some really great stuff today, like what to do during an emergency and when to call 911. My favorite part was learning important tips for calling 911. What about you? We'd love to hear. Write down your favorite part and bring it to the South Regional Library to get your very own English and Spanish bilingual safety bag. Thank you so much to the wonderful people here at the 911 Dispatch Building for letting us come and learn all about the important work you do for our community. Do you ever wonder? Nope, sorry, I lost it. Okay, let's go. Oh, I touched it. You're good. Let me close the door.
Well, this is the room where all the magic happens. When you dial 911,
And a special thank you to our amazing, and thank you to the people of the 911 Dispatch for letting us come and tour your amazing building and learn about nope.